Well, good evening. Good evening and welcome to Talking Songs with me, Rowland Jones. How are you doing out there? Better than normal? Same as normal? Go on. Take a wild guess. Anyway, things are pretty good here, I think. We're doing okay. We've this week we've reached 56,000 viewers. So thanks for all of you out there who are listening in. Drop me a line sometimes, send me a comment, let me know where you're coming from. I know we've had quite a lot of listeners in from Italy and obviously from the UK, but we've from outside of the UK, some from New York, some from Florida. So yeah, we're reaching quite a few people, which is good. And we should be carrying on into the new year, reaching more and more people, hopefully. And okay, so I'm going to kick off tonight. As usual, I shall play a tune before introducing my guest. And this is called I Knew in That Moment. Sometimes I think too much, I look too hard and I dig too deep. Can't get you out of my mind, can't get no peace. Well, I know I can't forget you, though many years have passed. I can still see your smile, I can still hear that laugh. And I knew in that moment, I knew that's all it could ever be. And I knew in that moment that the world was only you and me. I had to let you go because I knew it wasn't right. I let you walk out that door, I didn't even put up a fight. Sad or glad that it happened, either way it was never meant to be. I thought I'd won the big prize that night, but in the end the loser was me. And I knew in that moment, I knew that's all it could ever be. And I knew in that moment that the world was only you and me. 10, 20 years later, the memory still lingers on. How can something that felt so right be possibly been looked at as being so wrong? And I knew in that moment, I knew that's all it could ever be. Yes, and I knew in that moment that the world was only you and me. Yes, and I knew in that moment, I knew that's all it could ever be. And I knew in that moment that the world was only you and me. Thank you. I say thank you. I can't hear any applause or anything. So, Carly Thomas, thank you. Let's just put your mic on. There you go.
I'm clapping.
You're clapping. I can see you were
Clapping for
clapping.
you. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you doing, Carly?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
made a great discovery yesterday. I've had a specific guitar, which I've had for about 3 years now, a baritone guitar, right? So it's a longer scale. And I've never got to grips with it. I've been fighting with it. And yesterday I thought, why don't I just change the strings? Now, after 50 years of playing the guitar, you think that would have crossed my mind, in the past 3 years. But it does. It just feels like I've just had a new guitar for Christmas. So I think that's
Amazing.
a win-win situation myself. So that's me.
New set of strings. It's like a hot shower. They're like mini miracles.
Yeah. Well, this particularly was because it being a baritone, the bottom string was a 70, which is about the thickness of a mic cable almost.
Yeah.
I mean, it was impossible to play. But so yeah. So Carly, tell us, what about Carly Thomas? Tell us what can you tell us about you and your music? When did you start?
Well, I was gonna say, thank you for sharing that beautiful love song. I write a lot of love songs and a lot of about lost love songs.
Yep.
So that felt right up my alley.
Thank you.
I'm just having a bit of an audio thing on my end, but can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine, yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
There's no noises, no clicks, nothing. It's okay.
We've figured it out. Yeah, my name is Carly Thomas. I am a Canadian singer-songwriter. Right now I'm in London, Ontario. I grew up all over the world. Music was my way of just processing and figuring out who I was, probably. So it's become a way for me to express myself and share and feel a little less alone in this crazy up and down world.
Where were you living? For the sake of the viewers,
I was born in Bangkok, Thailand.
Right.
I've lived in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I lived in Paris, France. Spent some time in Evansville, Indiana, small town Indiana.
Wow.
Went to high school in Indiana and lived in Ottawa.
Indiana to Bangkok. That seems like a massive change.
Yeah. Well, that move was Evansville, Indiana to Argentina. So that was a bit of I was 11 years old.
Right.
So I got some very interesting young baby songs out of that one.
So what's the what started you off with playing guitar then and writing songs? What was it? What was the first thing? Did you always play guitar? Did you learn something else beforehand?
I started playing bass, but I have very tiny hands, and it was very difficult. And I just thought that everything would be very difficult. But then I switched to guitar, and I realized I can play guitar much better, and that just became my instrument. But
so how old were you?
That was probably like 10, and from 10 to like 13, I played bass in a garage before high school band. We played Nirvana and Offspring and jumped around a lot.
Cheerful stuff.
Yeah. It wasn't angsty. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my family's really musical. I was always surrounded by it, and to me, it always just made sense. I feel like just going through so much change and movement as a kid, music made sense to me in how to. That was always what I locked into, and felt like that was the best way to explain how I felt. So
cool. Yeah. So who were you listening to when did you actually start writing songs, do you think?
Like 12, 13. Yeah.
So were you still in the Nirvana stage then, or?
Ish, and then I started listening to. I mean, my mom always played like Beatles and then like old folk music, and that was pretty inspiring to me. And
when you say old, do you mean old folk music or old folk music?
Oh, I mean older than current folk music.
Yeah, I know. I know what you mean.
But I actually so you're in Manchester. My favorite band when I was a teenager was Oasis. I was obsessed. I lined up to go to a concert, but the brothers had gotten in a fight and they canceled it last minute. I never got to see them live.
Yeah, I'm sort of laughing at the idea of those two being in a fight. What a surprise.
Not surprising.
Not at all. No, they did. There's one classic piece of film where it actually happens on stage, isn't there?
Classic piece of what?
When they start fighting on stage.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I just always loved like the writing and the music, and I mean, I just revisited. Well, I mean, now Noel Gallagher has his High Flying Birds, and he's just I don't know. I just find him a very brilliant songwriter and kind of a interesting guy. And I don't know, Supersonic, so good.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so do you want to play a song for us then?
Yeah, I thought I would match your love song with a little love song, a lost love song. Wrote the verses of this in Toronto, and the chorus I wrote in Vancouver. Just trying to get a little far away to heal. This is called Into the Rain. It's cold and windy morning, I was hoping we could walk into the rain. Dance around an ocean that we both know we could always start again. Feels like we've forgotten all the things we had in common, everything we said. Now that it's all over, all I wanna do is hold you for a million years. I was on a rooftop singing folk songs, wondering how you got away. If I'm lucky, maybe someday you'll come back this way. But I was drifting through the afternoon, I saw someone that looked like you. I almost waved, but you don't live here by the ocean. I'm trying to throw you like a stone, watch you skip away. And I think if you were here, we'd have a laugh. If you were here, I'd feel home again. Everything has changed and I feel like a stranger to every place I've ever been. Was it worth it? Does it hurt? Yeah. Do you still feel the same? Only if I'm lucky, maybe someday I'll forget your name. I was on a rooftop singing folk songs, and I was about to lose my head. And I think someday, if I'm lucky, I will do it all again. Do it all again. It's cold and windy morning, I was hoping we could walk into the rain.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Lovely song.
Thank you.
You said, it's interesting when you said right at the very, very beginning, you said about writing and liking love songs, particularly lost love songs. Why is it that we all find it so much easier to write about things that have gone wrong rather than things that have gone right?
I don't know because I'm a catch, and I don't know why anyone would. Just kidding. Um, I don't know. There's something about um, the shadow, like the darker parts of what we all go through that I think we're more. I think maybe in general it might be harder to talk about and harder to tap into, but the beautiful thing about, or maybe not so, I mean, sometimes it feels like a bit of a curse, but I think for artists we always can tap into that easier. um, and
I'm sure you're right.
and it's those things that, I mean, need to be, we don't, I don't know, one of my favorite songwriters, Anya DeFranco, she has this quote that's really beautiful, and I wish I could um, remember exactly what she said, but it was more like, the fact that I'm being vulnerable and sharing this, um, and lets me know that I'm less alone, and in turn the listener is less alone in that. But yeah, you're right, it is easier to write a sad song, I think. I tried to write a happy song, my intention was, I'm going to sit down and write this happy song, and it turned into a happy melody, but it was still
Yeah, it's
love song.
It's interesting. I mean, the song I did at the beginning is actually it's a second in a series of songs, and the first one was a story that a friend of mine told me that had happened to him, and it was about a woman that he'd met at a wedding party, but she'd come over from the States to Britain for this wedding, and they met and they got it together that night. But they both knew that she was going back to the States the following day, and he was staying in the UK, and that was it. It was like, it was clear cut from the start. So I wrote a song about that, and then a while later, the one that I sang tonight was, the idea was at some point later on they met again, and the same thing happened again, but by this stage she was already in a relationship with somebody else, and so it was all about that. So it wasn't
timing.
Well, yeah, yes, yeah, bad timing, isn't Nicholas Roeg's film is called. So but it's quite interesting that how you say about like people relate to it, because I think that's the thing. Is I suppose it's like anything like that has a story to it, like a film or a book or a song, that you identify with a character in it, and it's easier to identify with the sadness for some reason. Well, I think
when you think about it, though, when we have songs that are about joy and togetherness and community and celebrating, it brings people together in a totally different way. We all go to a festival and we can dance to the happy song and all connect. I have a song about that called Front Row, by the way. But in the sad songs, those, when we're going through that experience, that it's not the happiest time in your life, and you're having, and everything's great and you're living your best life and all that, when you're in the darker, more alone parts of life, it's hard to reach out, it's hard to connect. So maybe that's why. Well,
it's funny you should say that, because you use the word to being alone, because somebody's just sent a comment in, Sarah. Is it Sarah or Sarah? I don't know. It says, maybe because we crave relatability and understanding, to know we aren't alone when we're hurting, which is exactly what you've just said. When we are happy, we don't need that connection as much. We already are feeling full and connected.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sarah. Spot on. Should find out. Sarah, do you write songs? We've got another message in from somebody a stranger to every place I've been. Oh, is that a line from?
That's one of the lines from that.
Yeah. Yeah. Is she a friend of yours? Sarah Cable Doctor? Oh,
hi, Sarah. I didn't know it was that Sarah. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I mean, your brother's doing his bit, is it? He's circulating this round to everybody.
I'm getting it circulated.
Excellent. So when you write, then do you have a regular way of writing? Do you try and write something every week or every day, or do you just write when it happens?
I find for me, the more I try to give myself that kind of writing discipline, the more I it's like I put this pressure on it, and the best songs that my favorite songs that I've written have been just kind of they come out. I
Hmm.
just spent a couple weeks on I sort of gave myself this writing retreat
Hmm.
at one of my favorite places on earth, near Guerneville at the Russian River. And
Hmm.
I was working on this tune. It's not done yet, but I had it in my head. I sort of have this song sort of on this pedestal before it even exists. And I ended up staying up 2 nights in a row, papers everywhere. Everything's crazy. Like just I made a total mess of this place with post-it notes on the wall. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
pulling
yeah.
my hair out. It was like I was in a battle.
Hmm.
And then the next day I was like, I'm just gonna let that one go because it's not working. And the
Hmm.
next day I wrote a song in 1 hour that just kind of came out.
Yes. No, I mean, obviously, I've
So
spoken to
some
a lot
kind
of
of
people about this
divine
process,
intervention.
and a lot of them say the same thing, that if it comes out easily, it's probably going to be good. If you have to work very, very hard at it, I mean, I don't mean refining it. I mean, just to get some structure to it. If you,
Mm,
this is what I've been told by so many people on this program, is that if you have to work at it and you're kind of chiseling it out as if it was some solid object, then it doesn't. It's less likely to gel. That's not
yeah.
to say that you don't change it, bits and pieces as you go in along. But do you find that you work from an idea, or from like a couple snatches of a melody or chords, or what? Or can it be anything?
All random. It
Mm.
feels random sometimes. I don't know. It's all
Mm.
different. I usually get I usually I'm constantly I have 5 things or more happening in my brain at all times.
Mm.
So sometimes I hear something and I have to follow it, and then
Mm.
sometimes I have just an idea and I want to map it out and be more like it's like heart and head kind of thing, like a
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
song coming from more being very thoughtful about it and doing a bunch of research because I get really into all the hidden messages and the hidden meanings. And then some, it's just like a melody and like a hook that gets in my head,
Mm.
and I just got to follow it through.
Mm. It's interesting you say doing research. That's interesting. In what sort of? Can you give me an example of that when you say?
Yeah, so I'm writing this song right now about a time when I lived in Paris.
Mm.
Um, and I have a bunch of references in it, and I mean, maybe it really will eventually just turn into a long poem or something, but
Mm.
I also wanted to reference a few things from um, Formula One racing. I know it sounds weird, but so I was looking up all these terms, and I was asking
Mm.
my brother who used to race about
Right.
all of the different tracks and stuff. And
Right.
then I was just recalling different areas that I used to hang out in Paris, and I'm sort of intertwining them in with this is the monster song that like I
That sounds
already
amazing.
talked about. Yeah. Anyway,
Paris,
hopefully
hang
it'll be
on,
good. I don't want to.
Paris Formula One racing.
Yeah. And like
This is a song I must hear at some
reflecting
point.
on your life. I'll send it to you as soon as it's done. It might take me 10 years. I'm not sure.
It's going to be a magnum opus, is it?
Yeah.
No, that's brilliant. No, it's quite interesting that how different people approach things. I had a guy on a few weeks ago, a guy called Matt Hill, who writes some very interesting stuff, and he sometimes sets up projects where they work on an historical thing, a specific event,
Yeah.
and he and 2 other writers worked together on this project, and it was about emancipation in Britain and everything that was happening in that era. And that was very sort of that was documented and well researched beforehand, before actually writing the songs. Whereas other people simply, I mean, the one
Throw spaghetti at the wall,
sorry.
Some people, sometimes I'll just throw like I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall, and then sometimes
Mm.
I am really deep dive into it and just
Mm.
drive myself a little insane.
Yeah, just when you were saying before about bits of paper, you know, like I've got
Yeah.
loads
Oh, yeah.
of stuff here.
I just started using Post-it notes more, and it's changed everything. I don't know if it's for the better, but they're everywhere now. Little weird like words and thoughts, and
That's
hoping that
nice.
they'll just get into my subconscious. I
Was
think
it
Gregory
about?
Alan Isakov does that, and he was talking about it on another podcast.
Yeah. Because I know Bowie used to do things like that about
Yeah,
writing random words and, you know, shuffling them around and
yeah,
trying to see what came out of them. I think
yeah.
that's interesting.
I'm in an explorative phase right now. Just I'm trying new ways to create.
Have you found I don't know how the lockdowns have affected you over there as much as they have in other parts of the world? I know that I've spoken to a lot of people who have said that they thought at the beginning that they would be able to do a lot of writing because they had no other distractions. And the majority of people have said they haven't done anywhere near what they thought they would have done because there doesn't seem to be an end to it, you know?
I've done a lot of writing, but I've also done, it's kind of been in waves. Like I've also done a lot of making cocktails, and I've also done a lot of like cooking. If I can't really dive into an emotional song, I just dive into making a like looking up a crazy recipe and making that. So I enjoy doing that and having different creative outlets. For me, I've used it as an opportunity to learn more of my, just to like work on some production skills and recording and realizing what I can do just from my own home. So
cool.
But I think probably I haven't written as much as I first thought. I was like, wow, I don't have to book gigs anymore, so I'm going to be just writing all the time. But sometimes it doesn't really work that way.
Well, that's what most people have said, to be honest, and it's quite strange because I remember saying to Leslie, my wife, at the beginning of it, because I've been saying to her I quite fancied doing what you did, basically going to a retreat or something other than spending like, you know, a long weekend or something other, just writing. And and I thought, well, it's great, you know, so I've got no other distractions. All my gigs have been cancelled. That's it. That's what I'm going to do. And I gradually found that what I was doing was getting myself ready to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking, well, I really need to sort that thing out in the studio. So I'd got that, and there's a piece of kit that I needed, which I ordered and got that plumbed in and everything. And then I found something else that I needed to prepare before I started. And after about 2 months, I realized I'm not doing anything.
Just
really.
prepping. I do.
I'm just prepping.
I totally do it too. It's the writer's thing. It's like we'll find any excuse not to write. So
I think it was Ben Elton who said that, you know, he loved, I mean, you know, obviously being a stand-up comic, but also being a writer. And he said, but even though I love writing, there are some times when I will sit down and read the back of a cereal packet rather than get into writing. And I thought, yeah, I know that.
My thing is I'm just organizing. I'm just organizing my things right now.
Making lists?
I make a lot of
Absolutely, yeah. Look, you know that
it's everywhere.
Yeah. This is I'm
and I always need a new journal. For some reason, I always need a new book, a new notebook.
Yeah.
I was like, I probably should get this new notebook before I start writing.
Absolutely. Well, I'll talk to you about that, or maybe on it, because I do another online thing called Eloquently Barking, which is about writing and notebooks. And I keep a journal. I'm on number 76 at the moment, I think. I've been keeping them for the last 16 years. But as you say, if I'm going to do something specific, I'd go out and buy a new notebook or something. It's prepping, as you put it.
All the prep.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to do another song?
I got a request before to do a song called Sink or Swim. It's from an EP that I put out called Explode.
Right.
And let's see, that's not right. It's just sort of a song about the what if in your life. I ended up going out somewhere and seeing someone that I used to hang out with, and I kind of saw a life that I possibly could have had if I had made one. It's like a sliding doors sort of a song.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm home in a strange place, Empty rooms and drapes the shade. Outcast corner of my mind. I look too late. 3:45, I watch the door, I watch the wall, I watch the clock and try and not to count backwards to where you are. If I could live forever, I would at least have time. I tell you all the reasons why. I wish I could breathe underwater. We'd find Atlantis, take my hand. Couldn't tell if I was crying, but if this is it, throw me in, sink or swim. Throw me in. And I watched the fire roll in that night. I've never seen it from this side. I'm sidetracked, eyes open wide. You say it's been there all along, so what's wrong? You wanna feel it when it's gone. Take my palm, come on. Lay me down across this bay. If I could find the words, I'd tell you what's been on my mind. I wish I could breathe underwater. We'd find Atlantis, take my hand. If it's not too late to try, but if this is it, throw me in, sink or swim. Throw me in. Throw me in. Throw me in. Yeah, throw me in. If I could live forever, I would at least have time. I'd tell you all the reasons why. I wish I could breathe underwater. We'd find Atlantis, take my hand. If it's not too late to try, but if this is it, throw me in, sink or swim. Yeah. If this is it, throw me in, sink or swim. This is it, throw me in, sink or swim. Throw me in.
Great.
Thank you.
Nice song. In both your songs, interesting, you've got a sort of like a rhythmic change at the end.
Oh, I'm very rhythmic.
Yeah, but in the sense that it comes as a sort of as a coda almost. It's a song really nice, unusual.
Thank you.
Like that.
Thank you.
So you're saying that was an EP you recorded. When you do you like working on your own in the studio, or do you work with other musicians, or do you just call people in to do the odd thing?
Yeah, I love like the collaboration of creating a piece of music, whether it be a song or an album. I usually play with the same players. I mean, it's been a bit odd in the last few years because I've been sort of back and forth to a few places, but I usually have I feel like the band kind of feels like a family to me, and it's really nice to get that comfort level and just the sharing of ideas and throwing in different things that I wouldn't have thought of. But yeah, I mean, I like writing alone, but I like sort of, I mean, it's like a baby. Like, let me go and give birth, and then you can help me raise it up, kind of thing. Right?
Yeah, that's cool. I can understand that. The thing that the not the last thing I recorded, but the last thing, but one I actually worked with a producer, was just brought in to produce and also played on the album. And the metaphor I said was, it's a bit like being a gardener, that I've grown these vegetables, now I want you to cook them.
Yeah.
But I said, he said, well, what do you want me to do? I said, look, I'll tell you what, just keep the metaphor going. I said, I want you to cook them.
Yeah.
I said, if you decide to put a spice in that I don't like, I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
but I won't say no to anything just for the sake of saying no. So if you decide that you think this cauliflower needs curry sauce in it, I'll say no.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it. But it was kind of a weird thing to do, because his perception of songs was quite different to mine. And he had this lovely idea about how every verse or every section had to have something happening to it to make it different to the previous one. So each section would either have something added to it or subtracted from it.
Yeah.
So that there was an event at every stage. So you have an intro, then you have the first verse and something different would change in the back end. Then the second verse, then you'd hit the chorus, and then it would drop down again, and all those sort of things.
Yeah, which makes sense for pop music. And I think the idea is, I mean, the listener, whether you know it or not, there's always something that's going to keep you like, what's going to come next. Anticipation, because I think more and more, in 2020, people don't really have long attention spans anymore. So
no,
but I still really like the romantic putting out a full length album and having it. This is how I want you to listen to it from this song down.
Yes.
What I'd
like. I agree with you totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I've talked to a few people about this, saying, particularly people of my age who would never use a shuffle button. I want to hear songs as they were written.
Yeah.
Sorry, not as they were written, but how they were put together in an album form. I mean, I have this thing which I can't. Occasionally you get stuff that'll come up if you listen to Spotify, something like that, and you'll just get a series of like greatest hits coming up. And I find that really difficult, because it doesn't have any pace to it. It's just like bang in your face all the time,
Yeah.
And I want it to be. I want a bit of dynamics in what I'm listening to. So
you got to listen to the B-sides.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I suppose it's. But I mean, a lot of that has changed because of the sort of format. I mean, the fact that up until a certain point, people produced vinyl, and that's how much you could get an album, and it wasn't worth putting out. You'd have a single, but in between that, whereas now you can just record a song and put it on SoundCloud or Spotify or whatever, or you can record 20 songs and they're exactly the same, and they can all be 20 minutes long or 20 seconds long. It makes no difference. So a lot of that has changed due to the sort of technology itself. But you're saying about attention span. I mean, because your songs have a sort of, they have quite a traditional sense of songs in the sense that there's an introduction to it. It brings you into the story. Whereas if you think about things like Spotify, where the average listener will listen to the first 8 seconds before flicking on to the next song. That's not going to work with the sort of songs that you and I write.
I have to be careful with that, because sometimes you try to write. I mean, I don't want to write something with that in mind, because it no longer exists as a artistic expression anymore. But it's also, there's also a giant business of music that you have to consider. Kind of, I guess it depends on what kind of songwriter you are, and I think I've sort of been on that journey of figuring that out. I mean, I put out a single called Front Row, and it's different from anything else that I have, and it's very poppy, and I really like it. But I did sort of try to make it like, okay, this would be the single, but I released it as just a single song, because it doesn't really, it's not gonna fall in line with the other songs that I'm writing, I guess, the other songs that I have. So, but I like exploring that side of it. But I definitely had in mind like the listener more when I wrote that song. But also, the song was sort of about the listener, so it kind of was a cool.
And it's I understand. In fact, on that album, the title track on the album that I'm talking about was exactly the same as that. It was something that is different to a lot of the other stuff I write, and the production on it is very different. And that was released as a single as well. But as you say, for me, I like to hear a bunch of songs. I'm unlikely to
I'm thinking of putting out like a metal single just
Mm.
for the headbanging because
Take
I
you
grew
back.
my hair really long during COVID, and also for possibly I could stage dive in that kind of vibe. I'm thinking about it. It's not really something that
Well,
I would
you've said it
normally
in,
do.
you've
I'm just
said it
kidding.
in public now, so you've got
I'm
a
gonna.
commitment.
All right, my fan base is gonna change.
I suspect so. Yes, yes, yes,
But I
yeah,
really
yes.
would like to jump off a stage one day and fall into the arms of sweaty strangers. It is a tiny dream of mine. So I am
I,
maybe
I
pumped.
quite like that as a lyric. Actually, falling to the arm of sweaty strangers. I think you could do
You're
something with
welcome.
that. Actually, I was thinking about in fact, I noticed that somebody had requested Sink or Swim, and you appear to have answered it as well, which I thought was quite impressive.
Oh,
Um, who else? And there's a few other people. Philly Pat, is that a friend of yours?
oh, Philly Pat. Yes,
Yeah.
she's my number
Um,
one.
who else we got? Sarah, Susan, Nachand,
Oh,
Nachand,
Natchand, Susan.
Nachand, and it says hi, Sari. Oh, so she must be a friend of. You've got a whole network of friends here. What the hell's going on? Sandy as well. Sandy Ziegler.
Right
Yeah.
on. Thank you guys
Uh,
for tuning in.
another comment here from Philly Pat. Brian Johnson of AC/DC writes a lot of songs about driving cars. Also from Philly Pat, Freddie Mercury wrote "Crazy Little Thing Called Loved" in Paris, France, while soaking in the bathtub.
That's awesome.
This is good stuff. I'm enjoying this. Hang on, we've got another. I think this is another request here. Sheila Boucher, is it?
Sheila, hey.
Yeah, she's saying, "I'll find an ocean."
Oh yeah.
Is that on your list?
It wasn't on my list actually, but that is yeah, I would love to play that song for
Yeah.
you.
Can you tell?
Sheila.
Can you tell us a bit about it?
This is my so I write a lot of songs somehow like the water theme is kind of
Mm,
my thing. It always comes back into
mm,
most songs that I write. I'm very much in love with the ocean and
mm,
um yeah, spent a lot of time spent about 9 or 10 years living in Vancouver, BC.
mm,
And it was so amazing to have the ocean right at your doorstep. And it was I don't know, I find it very healing.
mm,
But this song was, I don't know, it sort of felt, it was one of those songs that kind of just wrote itself, but, and I had to stop and think, like, I think it was sort of about me moving out to Vancouver and changing my life, but also it's about when you feel in that dark place and you feel alone in it, and it's a song about hope and always knowing that you do have somehow the tools to reach uh, whether it's the healing
mm.
or just getting through something or and then also I wanted to, without over explaining it I guess, but I wanted it to feel like, you know, and when you do have that boat as a metaphor and someone else needs it, then like pull them up and give them the oar, you know. It's called I'll Find an Ocean. I don't know. I've
Sounds
played it so
interesting.
many times that sometimes I get a little lost in what it even means anymore. Just it's such a feeling song,
Mm,
but it's connected with a lot of people, which makes me really happy.
excellent.
I'm out in the wind, up on a wire. I let you in. I set this house on fire. Not to lean left, not to lean right into you. I'm balancing day between night. I couldn't fool you. Don't be offended, don't be offended. let go of the past, not to hold back, but I wanted it all. I wanted it fast. Climb every tree that I might write your name in branches. Oh, and I saw the danger in sight. Still, I took my chances. But don't be offended, don't be offended. I climb higher up, don't look down, don't give up. I am out on my own. Show me a sign, let me down slow. 'Cause I need a way down. So give me a boat, give me an oar, I'll find an ocean. Give me a boat, give me an oar, I'll find an ocean. I'm out in the wind and I'm up on a wire. I let you in, I set this house on fire, but I throw this away. Take your eyes off me now. I need a place way out of this town, a rock that'll ground me, settle me down. Don't be offended, don't be offended. I climb higher up, don't look down, don't give up. I am out on my own. Show me a sign, let me down slow. 'Cause I need a way down. So give me a boat, give me an oar, I'll find an ocean. Give me a boat, give me an oar, I'll find an ocean. Give me a boat, give me an oar, and I'll climb higher up. Don't look down, don't give up. I am out on my own. Show me a sign, let me down slow. 'Cause I need a way down. Give me a boat, give me an oar, I'll find an ocean. Give me a boat, give me an oar, I'll find an ocean. Give me a boat, give me an oar. Thank you.
Great. Well, we've got requests flooding in here.
I've got texting happening. I've got my
yes, I've just somebody just sent me a message to say that they sent
John Huff,
yeah.
California. The reason he told me this one time, more than one time, he told me this.
Yeah.
The reason he's a drummer of mine, and we did a tour of the West Coast together, and we played that song quite a few times. He said when he heard my song called California, it was what made him want to play with me.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Hi, John. Thank you.
I think he confused me a bit because he said it. I think it came up around the point when I was saying we've got people listening all over the place, and all it said was California, and I thought, oh, there must be somebody calling in from California who's watching
Doctors in California. We've got people everywhere. I love it.
We've got we've had a request for front row and a request for setting this house on fire.
That was the line in the song.
Ah, right, okay.
Don't say your house on fire. That's not what that means. It's a metaphor.
It's not a pyromaniac song then. And we've got Merry Christmas, Carly from Judy.
Aw, Merry Christmas. How I don't know how many more songs I have, but
Well, normally people do 4.
so I'll just do a medley of my last song, and it'll go 20 minutes.
It's up to you. If you want to do another one, or you want to do another couple, that's fine. Either way, I don't mind.
Okay.
It's up to you. So what are your plans? And apart from the mega song about Paris and Formula One racing, what other thoughts have you got? Are you going to go back in the studio and do some more recording? Or
Yeah, actually, I'm working on stuff right now, sort of piecing it together, and it's going to be interesting because I'm not sure if I can actually go into the studio now that we're on lockdown. But I have been working on putting out a release that's in the works. I've got to do some more tracking right now, but I'm pretty excited about it. It'll be a good one.
Do you like your songs? Do you get a chance to gig them before you take them in the studio, or are you happy to take them straight in the studio?
I usually gig with them before, which is I prefer that because I get to know them.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like
absolutely.
You know, like there's songs you write and then you're like, I don't really know how to sing this yet, or and especially playing it with my band because it forms this life of its own that has nothing to do with me, that has everything to do with that chemistry and that and those people playing in the same room and the energy and also like response from the audience and
and also
like driving it right.
I think that one of the things for me is that often the lyrics they sometimes change, but more often than not they just kind of like bed in. They get to the point where the phrasing is
exactly
is clearer. I mean, okay, you're working with a melody, but there are certain things whereby on a certain line you go from the standard melody and just emphasize it in a slightly different way. And I think those sort of things, for me anyway, they tend to come out whilst you're gigging in front of a live audience rather than when you sat in the studio trying to work out how much more time you've got.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I quite like the discipline of being in a studio rather than recording at home, because I don't know how you feel about that. You were saying you experimented with producing stuff at home.
Yeah, I mean, going into the studio, I mean, I love it because you're in there to work and you've got people to bounce stuff off of, and like and I have worked with some awesome producers and engineers, and I just like learning more and being like really kind of a control freak when I record stuff, but I don't know if that's good or bad because I have one song that I've been working on for like a year and my producer wants me to release it and I'm like, I don't think it's ready.
Is that
not be scared?
Is that like a producer is involved with a label?
No, I'm independent. It's just
right.
So I get to be my own boss, but it's I mean, I guess I'm producer, but I'm like I'm working with people and learning and just I'm super, I don't know, I get really specific, but then if it doesn't reach where I want it, like, I don't know, it's just I need to redo a drum part and it's bothering me and then I don't release it. So I don't know if that's a good thing. Maybe it's fine,
Well, yeah, it's
sorry, Kyle, if you're watching.
I think one of the things that I always come back to is that I'm a big fan of James Thurber's writing, and one of the things that James Thurber said about prose is that don't get it right, get it written. Which, apart from being a lovely play on words, because there is always that danger that if you've got a studio setup at home, is that you mess around with things because you can. You end up going, well, I'll just don't know. And whereas if you're in a studio, you think, all right, well, okay, well, yeah, that's fine, that's good, and you go with it, rather than pontificating and worrying and fiddling with things endlessly, which I don't know. Quite often, I know when I end up doing it, I find that at the end of it, it was probably better at the beginning. I should have just left it as it was. So, well, listen, it's up to you. I mean, I'm quite happy for you to do, one more song, or you can do a couple more songs. It's entirely up to you.
Well, I mean, I don't know if John's still listening, but I haven't played California in a really long time, and I would love to play that one.
Okay, this one's for you, John.
I can remember it.
You've got a message here from a niece as well. It says for my niece. Where's she gone? She's disappeared.
Where'd you go?
Liz Costello.
Oh, that's my Aunt Liz. Hi, Liz.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of amazing friends and family support. And
you have indeed. I don't think we've ever had this many comments come on. And there's a bit of a dialogue going on between them. They're saying, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And oh, John Huff is at his drums. So
oh, yes, you are. Hey, let's do a long distance jam, John.
Yeah, you count him in.
All right.
Or vice versa.
I hope I remember how to play this. I will.
You will.
I come down to your town. We're running around. Put your feet on the ground. Keep your eye on the yellow light. Make it fine if we do this right. Keep your hands where I can. Put them where I like. If you were me, would you pick up the phone? Well, I said I would wait, but I can't sleep alone. Silence grows, it's an open room. Look beside me and it's not you. And my heart can't take it. So I wake up, I leave the room, and I think only of you. And come home to California, or see the west I've won. Wake up by the ocean. If it turns you on, you're all that I need. We'll stay under the sun. If they take you from me, I would draw my gun. I would draw my gun. Only for you. And drifting I knew. Well, it's only enough when you need it. And it hits you the most when you leave it. Yep, there's where. Come home to California, see the west I've won. Wake up by the ocean, if it turns you on. If it turns you on. Only for you. Drifting I knew. Well, it's only enough when you need it. And it hits you the most when you leave it. Home to California. Home to California.
Great.
Thank you. I would love to do one more that is fitting for the season. I wrote a Christmas song.
Yeah, cool.
if that's
We couldn't be any closer to it, really. So I think you should do that. Go for it.
the chorus is very I know it's virtual, but you can sing along. It's very easy, and you'll know it's coming. And I'll do it one more time that I usually do. But this was a fun. I was so I actually John was there. We were driving in Pat's car, this little hatchback. Pat was my guitar player and very good friend of mine. And I was like, you guys can take the front. Like, I think it was John in the passenger seat and Pat was driving possibly. And I was like, I'll take the back because the back was stuffed with gear. And I was like, I'm smaller than everyone. So I'll just curl up in the back. And I was like pressed up against the door with all the, like, I don't know, I guess maybe John had his kit. I can't really remember, but I just remember it being very squishy. And then it was winter. We're driving home from Toronto at like 2 a.m. from a gig, which is like a 2-hour drive. And I was like, I wonder if this is like a Santa thing. Like maybe Santa felt like a touring musician. Like maybe it's like really, and my wheels just started turning, and I started talking about how Mrs. Claus might feel with Santa always touring, and how it's kind of a weird job. It's a weird job when you're in a relationship because it's just, you're gone, and it's different, like it's not kind of you just turn off either at the end of a show. You don't just like go home from work and
no,
you're kind of anyway. So that was sort of the
that's where it came from.
But then I made it a Christmas song, and I don't know, I quite like it. So
sounds good to me.
It's that time again. It gets so cold here. I don't mind the snow, but I could use your warmth, dear. You're going away, high on your sleigh. Isn't it about time you come home to stay? 'Cause I wanna hold you. I wanna hold you. Right about now, you're probably flying over the Empire State, where we had our first date back on Valentine's Day. You know I've always wanted to see that great big Christmas tree in the city that never sleeps. I bet they feel a lot like me, but not so alone. Up here in the north, I don't mind the snow if I have you to keep me warm. So kiss me goodbye before you leave for the sky. Isn't it about time you come home to me? 'Cause I wanna hold you. I wanna hold you. Well, I wanna hold you. I wanna hold you. That's right. The delay might make it a bit weird, but
yeah. But there's other people joining in on the comments, so some people are typing it in, so that's cool as well.
I love it. So this last verse is meant to be from Santa.
Okay.
I should have given you the lyrics so you could have sang it. I haven't been able to hold you on Christmas Eve for centuries. One of these nights, won't you fly with me? I'll show you the world, show you the stars, big and bright. If you weren't so afraid of heights, I could be holding you tonight. 'Cause I wanna hold you. I wanna hold you. I wanna hold,
oh,
hold,
oh,
hold,
oh,
hold you.
oh,
I wanna hold,
oh,
hold,
oh,
hold,
oh,
hold,
oh,
hold
oh,
you.
you.
You're going away, oh, high on your sleigh. Isn't it about time you come home to stay?
Brilliant.
Happy
What a great
holidays.
song. What a fabulous song. That's excellent. I'm not a great one for singing along with Christmas songs, but I love that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, the chorus is a knockout. I love that. Ho, ho, ho. Fabulous.
Thanks so much.
Carly, it's been an absolute delight.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Well, thanks for
Thank you
thanks
for
for
everyone
joining.
and
Yeah,
all
and
my,
thanks for all your friends
all my
who've
friends
joined
and
in.
lovers.
We've got Susan, Dawn, Barbara, Kayla, Philly Pat, Susan, Philly Pat again. Oh, there are a myriad of them.
I love
Who
it.
else
I
have I
can't
got?
wait to go through it.
Susan, Wendy, Liz, Sheila, Philly Pat again, Liz, Teresa, Wendy, Susan, John
Dr.
again.
Susan. Dr. Susan?
I can't see that. I can't see what the surname was. It's gone. Nation, N-A,
Dr.
was it?
Susan Nation. Yeah. She's kind of
Nation, is it?
good.
Right, okay. It's not a surname I'm familiar with.
Um,
And Michelle Zmich, Z-M-I-C-H. Brenda McDonald, Judy, Laurie.
wow.
You
Thanks.
got a big fan base.
I love
I'm
you all.
impressed.
I love you all so much. I'm holding you. And stay safe this holiday season.
Fantastic. Thanks, Carly. Have a
So
great
much.
Christmas.
Thank
Good holidays, and keep in touch. Okay. I
Sounds
want to
good.
hear this F1 in Paris.
You'll be the first I send it to, for sure. It's gonna be good. Or
Excellent.
it's gonna be terrible. Who knows? We'll wait.
I'm sure it won't be terrible.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. That is brilliant. Oh, that was so much fun. Well, yes, I didn't think we'd be ending the season with a Christmas song. Actually, that's brilliant. So, thanks for everybody who's joined in since June. The 56,000 of you. I think we've probably had another 50,000 come on tonight. Thanks for all of you to taking part, and come and join us again after the new year. That we've got lined up for January at the moment. Steve Donahue, who's a local songwriter from Manchester. Fiona Boys. Now, Fiona Boys is a blues singer, Australian blues singer. Now, that's going to be the first one for obvious. The time difference is so great between here and Australia. We can't actually synchronize it. So that one will be a pre-recorded one, but that should be good. Then we've got Carl Wyatt on. Carl Wyatt is an Irish blues player who I met in Italy about 10 years ago and who lives in France. There you go. Good Telecaster player. Write some good stuff. That'll be a good one. And then on the 26th of January, I've got Dana Gillespie in the studio with me. Now this will be a knockout. This is a bit of a one. Dana has recorded 61 albums in total. And she has been on numerous albums with other people. She's sung with Jagger. She's been, as they say in the papers, romantically attached or romantically involved with everybody from David Bowie to Mick Jagger back. She's just published her memoirs, and I'm sure she'll be sharing some of that with us. She was telling me the story about how when she was 16, smuggling David Bowie into her bedroom in her parents' house, like you do. So that's what we've got lined up for January. So until then, have a great Christmas. It'll be quiet. Stay safe. Just do the usual stuff, eat and drink too much, but don't fall out with anybody. That's not necessary. Just have a great Christmas. And thanks again for supporting Talking Songs. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you. Bye, everybody. And I should, in fact, actually thank my dear wife for spending every edition of this downstairs in the kitchen, relaying it to the world. So thank you, Leslie. Thank you. Merry Christmas.